Hello, tree huggers, and welcome to the second episode of Tutorial Tuesdays with Tree. Now, today we are going to be looking at some more advanced modulation of parameters within Massive utilizing the instrument rack. And we'll also be making like a cool little riser effect thing. So I'm gonna do MIDI track, have my Ableton still purple, feeling purple, put a good purple, and we're loading Massive. And we'll wait. Alright, here we go. We're gonna make a new sound. You know, as always, the stock sound sounds like this. Pick it up a couple octaves. You don't want this. Monophonic. Take this oscillator, take the pitch bend up to 24. And I'm going to we'll automate that. Before we make any of this, if you remember from the first tutorial, we looked at modulating parameters like the wavetable position using envelopes and LFOs. Now, what if this envelope right here isn't what you want? What are you going to do about it? Well, I'm going to show you. See, if you take this Massive, you can also take this instrument rack, but keyboard shortcut, if you click on your instrument and you click Control G, I have a PC, so Command G for Macs, I guess. You get all these macros right here if you click this little show/hide macro controls. And what we can do is we can click this arrow in Massive and we can click Configure. Now I want to configure this wavetable position, this wavetable position, this wavetable position. Let's do this vibrato as well. And the thing is, if you click certain settings, sometimes it lists them and then you don't want them listed. So I'm going to take this LFO. I'm going to take this rate. That's what I want. Turn the rate all the way up. And the rate is the speed of this wobble. And as I explained in the previous video, basically you're automating a parameter based on the shape of this low frequency wave. And the rate is basically how many waves over time are in one instance. Okay. So click Configure one last time. Click this rate. And we are good to go. Now I'm going to click Map on the instrument rack. I'm going to click Oscillator 1 position, Map. Oscillator 2 position, Map. Oscillator 3 position, Map. Vibrato, Map. And since I don't like super large amounts of vibrato, I'm going to take this down. Oh, whoop, that's oscillator 3. Here we go. Vibrato, I'm going to take it down about versus 0.71. And I turn this all the way up so that when I turn down the max in this macro, I could see what the value was of vibrato. And what this macro mappings is, basically the max is when this is turned to full max, this is going to be what 127 is, and min will be what 0 is. And then I'm going to map this rate. We're going to call it good. And so basically, on my keyboard, I have knobs, and these knobs are assigned to these oscillator positions. You have a keyboard, you can use ABC40, whatever you want. If you don't have any knobs, you can draw it in by hand too. See, you can draw it in by hand here. I just like the knobs because it's easier and adds a little bit more human element. So now, see, if I move knob 1, this oscillator position moves. Knob 2, oscillator 2 position moves. Knob 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I have this blank one because I want a little empty space in between the positions and the other macros. Now, going to do a little bit of sound design. Turn the volume down, turn on the sound. So we just have our noise. And first things first, I want to get this rate figured out on LFO. So I'm going to take filter. I love the acid filters. And I'm going to take this LFO, and by clicking this plus sign, I'm going to route it to the cutoff. I'm going to take it from min to max. Okay, I'm going to take this crossfader curve, we'll go back up to the sine, but this time let's play around, let's see what this wave curve sounds like. I really like that triangle wave. Okay. Now that we have that figured out, we're just going to turn the filter off for the purpose of this sound design, and let's find some good movement sounds. And when I mean movement, it means when I move the wavetable position, it has a good change. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will find out shortly. Do not worry. So right now I'm just looking for just a random sound. Something that looks appealing. Let's try this crusher. Alright. Okay with that. So that was the movement when I was moving this position down. Now let's find another sound. Turn the crush off real quick. Maybe a formant saw. Okay. And I'm going to detune this saw at negative 14 cents. So when I play it with the crush, you can hear. Let's see if I play the pitch bend. And so for the third sound, I'm thinking deep throat. We use spectrum. When I'm changing stuff around and I forget to mention it, I am basically just listening to how different things sound to find something I really like. Let me drop this an octave. And deal that. And we're gonna pitch it up 14 cents. 86. So. And so, if you can piece together, we are taking these wavetable positions, and instead of just moving the knob with a plain old envelope like this, then we can change it these oscillators. So I'm going to record like an 8-bar rise, and we are A in this octave. Automate the pitch bend. If you hold control, you can move in smaller increments. I always set it at a little bit above 0 because for some reason Ableton likes. Hold on, my keyboard is playing stuff by itself. I'll be right back when it stops. Alright, sorry about that. Sometimes my keyboard likes to change the octave, turn on the arpeggiator, start the song a bunch over and over and over just by itself, and it's being a fucking dick. So I have these knobs that I can still move, at least. And we are going to go back. We're going to automate this pitch bend, and I like to put it at 19 because sometimes Ableton fucks up, for me at least, and if it like stops mid pitch bend and it starts at something and it's at 0, it like fucks up the sound. I don't know if that happens to any of you guys, but so right now we have our sound that sounds like this. And that sounds pretty cool, but let's give it a little bit more movement. So let's just go into massive, since we're going to do the first oscillator position. I'm going to turn off these 2 oscillators, and I'm going to click record. I'm going to record live. Then I can do the same for the 4-minute saw. And then once again for the last oscillator. And then put them all together. See what that sounds like. Sounds pretty freaking awesome. Let's see what happens if we modulate the phase of something. Maybe oscillator 1. I'll do that form it saw. So once again, click map 7 to I'm going to configure to the phase. Gonna map 7 to the phase, and I'm gonna automate. And then I'm going to do the vibrato. So it's automate again. And then let's go back to our filter and let's automate this rate right here. Let's see. Yep, we want to start up high. Okay, ready? Well, that did not necessarily go as planned. So let's delete that envelope and try that again. Okay, so the rate is there. Doesn't sound as good as I initially imagined. Maybe I can just, if I just lower from the cutoff to make it more subtle. Turn this cutoff up. Do a daft filter. Go to this LFO. Let's go to the performer. And let's sync it to 8. We might want to modulate the rate a little bit, but let's turn some curves. And these are basically modulations for these parameters as well. They're just different wave shapes. What? Okay. So now we'll route this performer to the cutoff of the daft filter, and it should. Get a little bit of craziness going on underneath. I wonder what happens if we do this though. I think I'm better at the 8. Now let's just add a little bit of noise. Maybe some tape hiss. Then I'm going to map this macro 8 to the color over here. So this is the color of that tape hiss noise. And we're going to automate this real quick. Okay. And then we'll go back and try to modulate this rate again. See what it sounds like. Then let's add some effects, maybe some feedback. And you already know what I'm going to put on there. I'm going to put on a phaser. And I really want to automate this rate right here. What if there's a way to get more macros? Chain list. Well, what if we could do multiple maps to the same knob? Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll take this, and I have other knobs. Top, let's see. Well, but I could just grab the. Yeah. I'll take this phaser for lack of space in the macro. And oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. I want to do the rate. So start low, then go high. Actually, you know what? I'm going to automate that one. Automate the rate. For next tutorial, I'm going to figure out how to map multiple things to the same knob. If any of you knows, help me out, that'd be great. Okay. Map to 4. Going to delete this automation. 4 right now. Okay. And do the rate. And then we'll go and edit that. We'll take the dry and wet down. Turn the feedback up. We'll turn. Take the depth. So the depth basically is just changing where the pitch of the phaser is. And then for this one, dimension expander. So don't know what happens if. Yeah, so let's just automate. This size for the dimension expander so it gets wider if you're using headphones. you should notice they turn the dry white up just a little bit more, and so we have our sound. We can always then run it through a reverb and a delay. And so there's that. And I hope you learned something about modulating parameters in Massive using the instrument rack. And I hope that you don't just follow the sounds that I do, but you take your own ideas and you take from the video and you think, what did I learn in this video that I could use to do something myself to try and find something cool. And then that way you're actually taking the information that you learned and putting it into practice, so then it becomes second nature. I wouldn't recommend saving any presets that you make to avoid overusing them. Because if you just make a new sound every single time, you'll develop a certain style. You really develop a unique sound. Most of you ever wonder why I don't put on like a delay or a reverb. That's because in my return channels I have a reverb, a delay, a stereo image, and a fattener, and I can just send things to it. And that's like my dry wet knob is the send. That way it avoids like cluttering in the track. You don't want multiple reverbs at the same time. Well, maybe not necessarily at the same time, because you could layer reverbs, but you don't want them like fighting for space, like against each other. You would want them working as one. But other than that, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe. And I hope you guys have a great day or night, depending on where you are. And I will see you guys this Thursday for another Tree Logs. Leave a comment or give a thumbs up and share with your friends. Thanks.